Hey, I'm John Grant, and welcome back to the Johnny Grant Show. We had another great fight night in London on Saturday, so let's go over the winners and losers and see what matchups make the most sense. So first up in the main event, Sean Brady submitted Leon Edwards in round 4. He walked through him, he assaulted him for 4 rounds, getting that submission win. It really is a huge win for Sean Brady. He's now ranked number 1 in the welterweight division. The problem is for Brady, though, welterweight is extremely crowded right now, with Jack Della Maddalena getting a shot at the title at UFC 315 and Shavkat Rakhmonov next in line for a shot. Also, Brady getting knocked out by Bilal 3 fights ago doesn't help his case for a title shot. Brady definitely will need another fight before he can get there. I think the perfect matchup to make is Sean Brady versus Joaquin Buckley. Buckley wanted to fight Usman, but it doesn't look like we're getting that anytime soon. Both of these guys are very much on the rise, and I think whoever wins this fight gets a title shot. And next up, the loser of the main event, Leon Edwards. He had a very rough night and is now on a 2-fight losing skid. Leon will definitely have to take a fight against someone ranked lower than him. A fight that makes sense to me is Edwards versus Ian Gary. Gary is coming off a close loss to Shavkat Rakhmonov and is now the odd man out in this title picture. A win versus Leon can put him right back in the mix for another big fight. Welterweight is extremely crowded with contenders right now, and it will be very interesting to see how it all plays out. Next up in the co-main event, we had Carlos Ulberg versus Jan Blachowicz. After Yuri beat Jamal Hill at UFC 311, it was a no-brainer that the winner of Jan and Ulberg would be Yuri's next matchup. Carlos Ulberg got the unanimous decision in a razor-close fight with Jan Blachowicz. With Magomed Ankalaev and Alex Pereira rematch likely set for UFC 319, Prochazka versus Ulberg serves as a nice number 1 contender fight for the light heavyweight division. This one is a no-brainer. Now for the loser of the co-main event, Jan Blachowicz. He's now in a weird spot, having 2 decision losses and a draw in his last 3 fights. The thing is with Jan, in his last 3 fights, he had a draw with the current champ Magomed Ankalaev in 2022. He had a split decision loss to Alex Pereira, and after a 2-year layoff, lost a close fight to Carlos Ulberg, which many fans thought went the wrong way. So yes, Jan is 0-2-1 in his last 3, but look at the competition in those fights. It's not a Leon Edwards or Israel Adesanya situation. He's going the distance with the best in the division. So I think the right fight to make is a Jan Blachowicz versus Alexander Rakic rematch. They tried to book this fight last year on UFC 297 and Jan got hurt. I think it makes more sense now than it did then. Both fighters on a losing streak. Whoever wins stays in the top 5 and around title contention. And the loser has to fight down in the rankings. Next up, Kevin Holland had a nice performance versus Gunnar Nelson to get him back in the win column. Kevin really has to make 170 his permanent weight and stop going up to 185. There's a bunch of fun fights for him at welterweight that could be thrown on any card. Li Jinglang, Brian Battle, Oban Elliott are all guys that make sense for Kevin. But one guy that nobody is talking about that I think would be an awesome fight for Kevin is Kevin Holland versus Nursultan Rozibev. Nursultan is 3-1 in the UFC with his only loss to Joaquin Buckley, and I really think that this would be an awesome fight with great striking exchanges. I'm not even going to give Gunnar Nelson a fight because I know that he's going to come back in 2 years or maybe not, and he'll just come back and do the same thing he did versus Kevin Holland and just tackle him and try to sit on him for the whole fight. So I think Gunnar Nelson should just retire. And the last guy I want to talk about is Marcin Tybura, who got the unanimous decision victory over Mick Porkin to remain the heavyweight gatekeeper. I think whenever they decide to feed Rizvan Blabiev to Curtis Blades, the fight to make is the number 1 heavyweight gatekeeper match between Curtis Blades and Marcin Tybura. This fight makes so much sense for both guys, and I'm honestly surprised they've never fought each other. And that is all for today. Thank you for watching The Johnny Grant Show, and I will see you next time.